Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining. I am Executive Chef Roberta Lowe, your vegan chef. We're actually going to do some fabulous desserts. So we're going to start we're going to actually do some cannolis, okay? This very nice pastry that is very popular. So that's what we're going to do tonight. We've been veganized it. Definitely check out the recipe and actually start to make that a part of your routine. Definitely make them for the holidays that are coming up for your family, because guess what? They taste so delicious. So what we're going to start with, okay, is our dough here. And the dough, I'm already pre-made the dough and everything. So I'm just going to show you how to actually do one of these doughs here. Now, when you make the dough, you can definitely roll out the whole dough together and do a cookie cutter, or you can just take small balls and actually roll them up that way as well. That also works. Either way, you want to make sure that you're rolling nice and thin so you can get that crispy texture, okay, because they will puff up in the oil, and you want to make sure that you are actually rolling it large enough, okay? Or whatever your desired size is. So I am just literally rolling this out here. And if you find that your dough is sticking to your table or to your board, then you can definitely utilize some flour on it, okay? So see, that side is a little bit more sticky, so I'll keep it rolled over on this side. And like I said, we're just rolling something that's very thin. Of course, like with any dough, you really are just rolling from the inside out. Hello, everyone. It is a delay, so if you do have questions, you can definitely leave those questions in the comments, and I will actually get back to you all on those questions. So this is nice and thin for me. Nice and thin. I can pretty much, you know how thin it is when you're pretty much starting to see your fingerprints through the actual dough, okay? And again, like I said, you can definitely utilize and just roll out the whole dough and just roll it out thin, and then you'll be able to actually put that on. And then use the cookie cutter if you're looking for definitely uniform shapes, okay? But we're cooking at home, so it's not as if I'm just cooking for myself, my home. And so therefore, uniformity is not as important when I'm at home. So this little gadget here is literally some aluminum foil, okay? And what I did with this aluminum foil is heavy duty aluminum foil. I just wrapped it up, okay, and made little rounds out of it, little colanders out of it, okay, and that way we're going to wrap our dough in it. Now you can buy cannoli cylinder, cannoli shaped metal, okay, baking or frying just like this. But when you're just doing cannolis every so often, if you don't want to do that actual investment into that particular product, you already have tons of products that you're already invested into, and then the aluminum foil definitely comes in handy. I'm going to bring my burner back over, because we're actually frying these. And like I said, I'm just showing you one so you can get the idea of it. And a good frying mark for these pastries is going to be no higher than about 370, 365, somewhere in that. You don't want to go higher than that because you can definitely burn the delicate dough. And just know when you're actually starting to fry these, just know that the temperature of the oil will actually start to drop. Okay? So we're just going to pretty much put them in. Actually, I want a fork because what this is going to do is it's actually going to start poofing up. And so I want to start, I want to make sure that I go in and start to actually take out or deflate all of those bubbles that's going to start happening when I stick it in the oil when it starts to fry up. So just placing it in the oil gently. So this with the frying, it actually, like I said, it actually starts to really bubble up. It really starts to come loose. And so sticking a fork in there and kind of controlling how it's actually frying really does help, really does work. So once you start controlling that bubble and you see that you no longer actually need to babysit the cannoli, then because it won't act, because it's now controlled, it's in its shape, it won't go, it's not going anywhere, then that's when you can relax on the fork or on the knife. Like I said, you just want to make sure that you keep that cylinder shape when you're frying these. So since it is a dough, it does actually start to bubble up. That's what gives the cannoli this. It start to collect air in it. So that's what gives the cannoli like this crunchy, airy, soft pastry texture. All right, so cannoli is done. Okay, look at that. Nice and golden brown. It's still pretty much, it came open some, but you can see where I tried to, where I actually started to poke it with the fork just to get that back down, okay? And that's how you just fry up a cannoli. An easy peasy method to frying up a cannoli. And what we're going to do now is actually make the filling for the cannoli. And the filling is actually going to consist of the cream cheese that's already in the bowl. And to that cream cheese, we're going to add some cinnamon. We're going to add some lemon juice. And I made some earlier and I did vanilla. And this particular one, I'm actually going to add almond extract. So I have placed that all into my bowl. And then we're going to add in some sugar. All the measurements are in. And this is, and my powdered sugar is just literally raw sugar that I ground up myself, okay? So before I actually start turning on the blender and starting to mix this up, I'm actually just going to break up the cream cheese. And this is vegan cream cheese, just so it can be a little bit more pliable or a little bit more manageable when I actually turn on the actual blender, the mixer. So that's all I'm looking for. All right, so now that we got that all done, okay, Now that we have our filling all done, it's very pliable. All of the cream cheese is actually nice and thinned out, incorporated with all the other ingredients. We actually just stick it in the refrigerator. But before you stick it in the refrigerator, what you want to do is transfer it to your pastry bag. Once you transfer it to your pastry bag, then you stick it in the refrigerator and for about 15, well, it depends on how much you actually making. So you'll just lay it out on a sheet tray and then stick it in the refrigerator for about 30 or so minutes. That should definitely give it time to firm back up so that you can actually apply it to your inside your cannoli. Now, when you're ready to serve your cannolis, that's when you start to fill them up. Okay, you don't want to fill them up before you're ready to serve them because they'll get mushy and soggy, and they won't give you that crunch that you're actually looking for. Okay, so I will do one here, of course. Of course, the ones that you just took out, you really want those to actually really cool down. Okay, you do not want to fill them while they're hot because they'll melt the mixture. So you want to make sure that they're nice and cool for you before you start to fill them. Okay, and so these are some cannolis that are actually pre-made here. And so I will fill these up. This is icing that I also pre-made. And if you do not have a pastry bag, all you need is a plastic bag, a Ziploc bag, and then you'll be able to fill them up. Make sure you get a nice quality Ziploc bag because you do not want your Ziploc bag to break on you, okay? All right. So now the cannolis are nice and filled. And what I have here on how I'm going to dress these, I have some pistachios that I actually crunched up. And so therefore, I'm just going to stick those on the edge of one cannoli. I have some chocolate chips, and I'm going to stick that on the other side of the cannoli. And of course, you could do it on the same finishing on both sides. Okay, you don't have to do it how I'm doing it. You just pretty much go in with the fillings that you want. If you have almonds that you prefer, if you have pecans that you prefer, then go with the toppings that you enjoy. So on this one, I actually have some shaved almonds. That I'm just going to stick on. And again with the chocolate chip on the opposite end. All right. So those are our cannolis. I'll bring over some that I already did. And I'll just add these to the end. And guess what? So I made some chocolate sauce already that I'm just going to drizzle over here. over the cannolis. Just to give it some chocolatey flavor. And then I'm also going to sprinkle on some more powdered sugar. Make it rain powdered sugar, right? And so that is our cannolis.